it's reported to be a truly challenging and profound moment. They may have felt what some call the overview effect, seeing our home, this blue and green fragile rock, supporting lives like ours against a vast, dark expanse of space. Many report feeling a deep sense of awe and a sense of human unity. They don't see borders. They sure don't see political parties. The resources from space don't belong to some, not to others. They see in all of this vastness that right here, this is the most abundant, life-giving place to be. Now, down on Earth, the view can become a bit more complicated. But in Charleston, we can't be fooled, because we know that there's enough for all of us. You're going to hear that a few times tonight. Tonight is not just a meeting for sitting and listening. Tonight is an action, a night for doing justice. So, wherever we are sitting in this room, we all have a role to play. So when a speaker on stage says, "There's enough," you say, "For all of us." Oh, okay, let's try that again. There's enough. For all of us. There's enough. For all of us. There's enough. For all of us. You got it. Now, to realize this abundance, we have to come together. Friends, neighbors, maybe even strangers, at least until this evening, with a shared commitment and this unique opportunity to work together to make Charleston the home we want it to be for all of us. Let's do that tonight. You join me in a moment of prayer. We gather tonight from different walks of life, different faith traditions, or no tradition at all, to be together now to do the work of justice. Tonight, we call upon the divine, using the names of our different traditions, or simply calling the good conscience of good people for guidance and strength. Tonight is the culmination of a long process. Let us honor the stories and testimonies that give voice when we fall short of caring for everyone. Let us speak the truth plainly and clearly. Let us honor the rigor of our research and grant us the humility to listen with openness. Whatever our title, job, or role, enable every single one of us in this room to work for justice. It'll take all of us. We live in a city with great natural beauty and resilience. Let us work together to protect it. We live in a city famous for its mansions. Let us make it a place where all can afford to live with dignity. We live in an amazing city with amazing people. Grant us wisdom to help all of our children to learn and grow, to keep us safe without bias, to keep our people healthy and well-nourished. Help us to make injustice scarce. Help us to share the abundance around us and do the work of justice. Amen. It's my pleasure to bring the next speaker on stage. We'd add Bishop to the title for Dr. Shoemaker. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Adam Shoemaker, and I am still the proud priest and pastor of St. Stephen's Episcopal Church in downtown Charleston. And I am here tonight as we begin the Nehemiah Action to reflect with you on our theme for this evening, a theme that has guided our work over this Justice Year. And that theme, as we have already heard, is there is enough. There is enough. Our faith traditions teach us that there is enough for all of us if we, as the late Archbishop Desmond Tutu once put it, do our little bit of good where we are, for it's those little bits of good put together that can overwhelm the world. And as a Christian, there is no better scriptural example of this than the story of the so-called feeding of the multitude, where Jesus takes a paltry amount of food, 5 loaves and 2 fish offered by his disciples, and literally feeds thousands of hungry people. It's a story that one of our former co-presidents, Brother Ed Bergeron, once interpreted as an example of Jesus as community organizer, organizing people to contribute what they could to feed so many. And so we are reminded in this story that when we do our little bit of good where we are to care for our neighbors, that generosity gets multiplied many times over. That generosity helps to model for others, for the world, that there is enough, and yet we live in a world that so often tries to convince us otherwise, don't we? We are so often tempted to believe that there is not enough to go around, and that we live in a world not of abundance but of scarcity, a world where we fail to see our fundamental interconnectedness, a world where we lose sight of that critically important notion of the common good and of our collective responsibility that we have to care for one another, and especially those on the margins. And this is why I am so very grateful for our collective work as part of the Charleston Area Justice Ministry, a ministry that my own parish has been a part of now for the past 6 years, a ministry that I was once privileged to serve as co-president alongside the one and only Reverend Patricia Jones of Hebron Zion Presbyterian Church on Johns Island. I'm so very grateful for the many ways that CAJM has embodied the gospel truth that there is enough for all of us when we come together to offer what we can across differences to build power for the sake of the common good. I'm grateful for CAJM's collective persistence that has beat the drum for justice in the face of so many injustices and so many who've tried to convince us that we live in a world of scarcity. And because of that persistence, I've witnessed extraordinarily impactful wins on behalf of our community. From an affordable housing trust fund to mobile health clinics, to racial bias audits and reforms to our municipal police forces. You can applaud. This work, for those of you who have been a part of CAJM for a long while, you know that this work has not always been easy, but it is always impactful. It remains just as important as we gather for this evening's action to address the pressing issues before us. For we find ourselves at a time when a community such as North Charleston's South End has been without a full-service grocery store in over 20 years. We find ourselves at a time in which our students go to schools where families have no real voice in who leads them. We find ourselves at a time in which a critically important resource, such as Gadsden Creek and its surrounding community, are being sacrificed for everyone else's gain. To our elected officials who are here this evening, you are in this room tonight because the community has invited you to be here. You have the authority to change these realities. Tonight at this Nehemiah Action, we ask you to use that authority, to do your little bit of good, to effect change and help build a Charleston not of scarcity, but of abundance. Because we know we believe as members of CAJM that there is enough. Now, to all the rest of you here who, like me, count yourself a part of the Charleston Area Justice Ministry, you did not come here tonight as spectators. Every research visit, every meeting, every kitchen table conversation that has happened over the last many months built this moment. So what happens this evening on this stage belongs to all of you. Own it tonight and after we leave, for we always have to be accountability partners in the public commitments that will get made. There is enough. There is enough. There is enough. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Cajun family. My name is Jackie Winston, and I am a member of our Environmental Justice Committee. Ever since the late Reverend Joseph Darby proposed the action to align with the Friends of Gaston Creek's campaign to save Gaston Creek from development, our EJ committee has been in the work. I believe we have a video that shows someone speaking about our work up to date. We have that video?
What's up, CAJM? Hi, I'm Miss Ange from the BTG. That's what I represent, Back the Green. This is my fabulous Gaston Creek. And we're here a year and a half later after our special creek walk with the mayor. And as you can see, she's still thriving and he's still jiving. I want y'all to know that the redevelopment of Gaston Green has had no input with my neighbors whatsoever. There has been no transparency up until the charrette. I want to live on the west side. I want to still be beside my creek, but what I don't want is to be living on top of her. So please help me save the creek, save the green, and save my home. Thank you.
Since the time our campaign began, it has grown to include key community allies, from neighborhood associations to environmental stewardship organizations. Our EJ committee stands strong with these allies against the fill and build development on the critical tidal wetland that you saw named Gaston Creek, that is located in a historic African American settlement community. We stand with the residents of Gaston Green Homes public housing community. We stand with our allies to hold the mayor accountable to his promise to save and preserve Gaston Creek, a promise he reiterated on the Walk of the Creek organized by our committee. During our walk, he learned from Gaston Green residents like Miss Angela how the creek helps mitigate flooding and just how valuable and alive this habitat is. Yet, despite these promises and revelations, the mayor recently released plans to put housing on top of Gaston Creek. Which the city is calling Project 3500. 96 out of the 100 acres that used to be Gaston Creek has already been filled and paved over for commercial development. Representing decades of taking from the Gullah community by past mayors and city council members. As it is currently designed, Project 3500 would be history repeating itself. The Gaston Green community is already one of the most flood-prone neighborhoods in the city. And according to the EPA, 1 acre of salt marsh can store up to 1 million gallons of water. Not saving what is already left of Gadsden Creek would be irresponsible governance, especially at a time of sea level rise and more extreme weather events. Not recognizing the cultural significance of the salt marsh to our beloved Gullah communities is to continue the racist, profit-driven legacy of harm. Now, I do have to take a second to warn you that there is a QR code on the screen that, due to last-minute technical difficulties, does not work. So if you see it, don't scan it. So action by the KJM EJ committee does take on 3 forms, and we need a lot of help to sustain the work. Action 1 is vigilance. Watching City of Charleston meetings where land use decisions are being made that could impact the fate of both Gadsden Creek and Gadsden Green residents. We need help keeping track of the information the city is quietly releasing about Project 3500, much less when and where these important meetings are taking place. Action 2 is showing up and speaking out, either in person or by public comment at these meetings. And if you are a part of any KJM committee or congregation on the peninsula or within the city of Charleston that would like to join us in this action of speaking up and showing up, please look forward to our next MANA edition, where we will have a correct QR code where you can give us our email, and then we can send you, or give us your email, and we can send you in the moment opportunities to speak up at these meetings for Gadsden Creek and Gadsden Green. Finally, action 3 is teaching. Teaching the fact that fill and build development on our salt marshes greatly increases the flood hazard risk to any nearby communities, much like Gadsden Green. Taking these action steps helps educate Charleston communities about the importance of our wetlands, while also reminding the mayor and city council that we are watching and holding them accountable. Thank you.
I don't know if I need that. I'm a little bit louder. Good evening, KJM members, friends, and neighbors. My name is Deborah Agbor-Tabby, and from St. James Presbyterian Church on the lovely James Island, in case you're wondering. I'm here this evening to share with you our progress in affordable housing and to let you know how you can help. Because of the power that KJM has built, the Charleston County Local Housing Trust Fund has been established at $11 million and with a commitment of ongoing annual investment. And right now, 187 units of affordable housing are already being built in our community using these funds. There's enough? There's enough? You betcha. So listen, we are not just watching progress from a distance. The Housing Committee is developing a monitoring plan and will be holding decision makers accountable to every dollar, every unit that was promised. KJM has built something real here. $11 million, 187 houses, homes, much more to come. The question now is, what do we do? What do we build next? Earlier this year, in partnership with our sister justice organizations in Columbia and Greenville, we asked our KJM network to show up in advocacy at the state level, to pass the eviction record ceiling bill. And you did. Yeah. That was KJM wielding power in a new way at the state level. We just learned last Thursday that H 4270, that's the eviction record sealing bill, passed its second reading on the House floor with a vote of 77 to 23. Woo woo! We have less than 2 weeks to get this bill to Governor Henry McMaster's desk. That means we need to move fast and apply pressure now. Our goal, get senators to fast track H 4270 and pass it as is with no amendments. You can help right now. In your program, you will find more information about the bill as well as a script you can use to call your state senators and make your voice heard. Because of the success of this effort, we will be researching the possibility of joining a formal statewide housing coalition able to push for change that no organization can do and win alone. If our research committee finds that the voice for justice at the state level is desirable and feasible, you will see a proposal in your House meetings this fall with follow-up at the Community Problems Assembly. That is how democracy works. And we know there is enough for all of us. You betcha. So tonight, we're asking you to stay engaged. If you are interested in being involved in this stage of our research, use the form or QR code in your agenda to let us know, and we will be in touch with you. And in the meantime, don't forget to call your state senator about the eviction record sealing bill. We will continue to work for affordable housing because we know there is enough. You betcha.
Good evening, Cadrum. My name is Pastor Byron Benton, and I'm privileged to be the pastor of Mount Moriah Missionary Baptist Church. It's nice to have home field advantage, amen. I have been given the honor of informing us in how we can all continue to invest in justice. In the book of 2 Kings chapter 4, 1 through 7, in a sacred text of my tradition, we are presented with a widow who had a major problem. She was on the brink of losing everything. Her husband had passed away, she was in deep debt, and creditors were coming to enslave her children. In desperation, she cries out to the prophet Elijah for help. She asked him on her last bit of hope if there was something that he could do. And he asked her a simple but yet profound question: what do you have in your house? She replies, nothing except a small jar of oil. Elijah then gives her an unusual instruction. He tells her, borrow empty jars from your neighbors, then go inside your house, take that little bit of oil you've got, and begin to pour it into the empty jars that you borrowed, the empty vessels. The woman follows through, and what happens then is nothing short of a miracle. Somehow her little bit of oil kept flowing until all those empty jars were filled. Jar after jar is filled, and it doesn't stop flowing until there were no more jars left to fill. She puts what she has to work. She takes then those filled jars and sells them. There's enough money to pay off all her debts, student loans, mortgage, car loan, and even that payday loan. And then she has enough left over to live off of the rest of her life. This destitute, downtrodden, depressed, and distressed woman learned that scarcity is often just a perception, but not reality. She spoke to the prophet who gave her a charge. The charge was simple: connect with your community. When community comes together, you'll find out you have all you need. And then when you connect community to God, God begins to flow and fill every jar. I invite you to look around at the person to your left, your right, your front, and your back. We have enough community here. There is enough. There was enough not just because of what she had, but because of what they shared. What a powerful night we have already experienced, even though we're just getting started. Tonight is not just a gathering. This is the Nehemiah Action, a moment where faith community meets action, where organized people come together to hold systems of power accountable, and where we declare there is enough. And we witness the same revelation that the widow saw on that day. There is no limit to God's supply, only to human capacity. As long as we have enough empty jars, there's more than enough oil to go round. And so tonight we celebrate the thriving Cajun because when we come together, we soon discover that there is more than enough. We celebrate the victories that have already been won. Policies changed, communities strengthened, lives impacted, health care provided. From policing to restorative practices to environmental justice, we declare today there is enough. Oh, all we need is a few empty jars. Because of Cajun, issues that once felt invisible have been brought into the light. Because of Cajun, everyday people have stepped into our collective power, and we will not accept broken systems as being the status quo anymore. And that is worth celebrating. I want to take a moment to express our appreciation to our corporate investors, all those who have taken their time and resources to invest in justice. In your packet, you will see a list of all of those investors, those corporate investors, and I want you to take a good look at them so that you can join me in celebrating those who feel justice is worth investing in. Let's give them a big hand. So here we are, because you know it's coming. Everything we celebrate tonight, the research, the organizing, the follow-up, the accountability, the going and asking somebody to come to the Nehemiah Action, explaining to them what the Nehemiah Action is, still trying to figure out for yourself what the Nehemiah Action is. All of that is made available because people give their jars. Tonight, we invite every person who's in the room to give what you can. Maybe you have 1 jar, 2 jars, 3,000 jars, however many jars you have. We invite you to do what you can. Whether it's $10, $100, or $1,000, every gift matters, every dollar organizes, every contribution helps to keep the oil flowing because there is enough. You will see a QR code that should be popping up. You can give through the QR code. You can give through the Cash App. You can give by cash or check. You can give even by getting some merch. Giving is not just charity. Giving is strategy. Giving is power. Giving is justice in motion. And I'm going to give you an opportunity, especially for those of us who want to scan and those of us who want to figure out that Cash App, to do so right at this time. And while you do that, I want to remind you of something coming up on May 18th. Somebody say May 18th. We are having our celebration. This year, our celebration theme is stuck in the 70s celebration. 7Ds, the letter, 70s, the year, celebration. People in position of power use tactics. We call them the 7Ds. You know them: delay, deny, distract, detect, deceive, deflect, divide, discredit. But it didn't work in the 1970s, and it's not going to work in 2026 either. So come on out in your best 70s attire. If you're too young to know what that is, Google it. We're going to have some fun and strengthen our resolve as we continue to work together. And as you know, we have a competition between our congregations. It is the Justice Cup, and that is determined by the percentage of members present at the celebration and the percentage of congregations investing in their goal. I have a bias in that I want one congregation to win that this year, but it is open to everybody, and it's a friendly competition. And so, family, may we continue to invest in justice because there is enough. Thank you.
Hello, Cajun friends. This is my first Nehemiah Action. I am Jill Small, and it is my privilege to serve as the interim senior pastor at Circular Congregational Church. Before we get into the details of our food insecurity research, I'm going to explain the negotiation process that you'll be participating in shortly. The decisions our public officials make directly affect us. Too often, those decisions happen behind closed doors without our input. Tonight, we bring those conversations into the open where this community is witness. Tonight, our food insecurity negotiating team will be Minion Clyburn, representing Morris Brown AME Church, and Janet Northern from St. Stephen's Episcopal Church. Ms. Clyburn serves on our Food Insecurity Steering Committee, and Ms. Northern has been active on our full committee research team. These two know the issue and how it's manifesting in Charleston. They know the root of the problem and what we need to do to address it fully. They're representatives, not for themselves or their personal interests, but for the entire Cajun family, and on behalf of an objective, well-researched, and much-needed solution. Tonight, we are asking direct questions and demanding clear answers to fix real problems, and we need real commitments. So our format will be straightforward and fair. There will be yes or no answers. In their official roles, elected officials routinely cast votes on important issues. There is no maybe or it's complicated when it comes down to the vote. Tonight, we simply ask for the same clarity that they practice in their official voting. A clear yes or no tells us exactly where they stand on this critical issue. We're not asking them to make a commitment for the entire council, just what they individually will support and advocate for. There will be timed responses. If an official says no to a question, they then get 30 seconds to explain their position. After their response, we will either move to the next question or begin negotiating. At public meetings, these officials enforce time limits on community members speaking, and tonight we will apply the same principle of structured time. Each official will also get 60 seconds to address the audience at the end of the negotiations. We're glad that so many of our officials answered the call to be here tonight. The need for clarity and for timeliness may make our negotiations with each person brief, but there will be opportunities for future conversations that are not so time constrained. We also have microphone control. I can tell you as a pastor, once somebody's at the mic, that is a question mark, but okay. Just as officials control the microphone at their meetings, we control the microphone tonight. This is our meeting, called by us, this community. We will caucus when needed. So if negotiations get stuck, our team might call a caucus to find a resolution. Please be patient and stay quiet while the research team discusses. There will be no surprises. Everyone on stage received our questions ahead of time and agreed to this format. We're not trying to trick anyone. We're seeking honest answers to serious questions. And your role tonight is crucial. This is not about attacking individuals. It's about holding our systems accountable to the people they serve. We are showing up with respect and with firm expectations. So tonight, please follow our directions. We have a volunteer on stage with a sign that will either say silence or applause. Those are the two options. Please also remain silent while negotiators and officials are speaking. We'd like there to be no distracting side conversations. Now, there may be some tense moments tonight, and that's natural when we challenge systems that weren't built to serve everyone equally. In these moments, your discipline makes all the difference. With so many of us present, hundreds and hundreds of us present, we must move as a unified body. Our collective power comes from our unity. We're not just individuals with complaints. We are a well-organized community that understands when we work together, there is enough for all of us. Finally, no matter what answers we get tonight, this is only the first phase of getting this solution implemented. The yeses and nos will tell us what we have to work with, what we can rely on, and what we can strategize around. And you being here tonight provides the power-backed accountability that we all need to solve community problems. Thanks so much for being here tonight.
Good evening. And thank you for the opportunity to be here at Nehemiah Action. My name is Cassandra Loftlin, and I am the board chair for Fresh Future Farm, a Black-led, nonprofit urban farm in the Chicora Cherokee neighborhood of North Charleston at 2008 Success Street. We work at the intersection of food justice and community development, growing fresh produce and offering garden education, and nutritional classes to improve access to healthy food in an area with limited grocery options. In neighborhoods like Chicora Cherokee and Union Heights, food access is not just an economic or a market failure. It is a transportation and infrastructure challenge. When a family's ability to access fresh food depends on a bus schedule that does not align with shift work, that is not just an inconvenience, it's an injustice. When we say food desert, we have to tell the truth. The term is very deceptive. A desert is a naturally occurring phenomenon. What we are experiencing is the result of planning, transportation, and systems that have not kept pace with the people they were meant to serve. For example, families in Chicora Cherokee, like Mr. and Mrs. Shepherd, reminds us what access really means. He is blind. She is disabled. She's also his caregiver. Neither of them can drive. Even a simple trip to the store isn't safe because of uneven sidewalks and unreliable support. Fresh Future Farm helps to bridge that gap by bringing fresh food directly into their lives so they are not forced to navigate unsafe conditions to simply eat well. What we are experiencing is not the result of evil or individual ill intent. It is a result of systems and decisions over time that have shaped the conditions that we see today. Now, we must be honest. Some of those decisions have been influenced in the past by economic inequity, even racism. But this moment calls for us to focus on what we build next. This moment is not a moral failure. It is something that every city faces over time. The question is not how we got here, but how do we choose to respond? Our response has to be collaborative and comprehensive. So many of us are already doing this work, and we need to do it together. Okay? I stand here tonight as a leadership collective alongside with Stephanie McFadden and Kanae Miller. We are practitioners dedicated to long-term health, resiliency, and food sovereignty of North Charleston, along with respect for the food, history, and lived traditions of those who live here today. Now, we are encouraged by the grocery store development on Reynolds Avenue, and we are hopeful about the North Charleston Rail Project and what it could mean for connectivity to the city. These are very important steps, but standalone development projects are not enough. We are always encouraged by the work of community leaders and other food access nonprofits, but our individual efforts are not enough. Our work needs to expand and build on something regional, comprehensive, and collaborative. Our wish is for a regional food council that reflects the voices, needs, and leadership of this community. Thank you. Thank you. Community efforts require the community's voice at the center. They require accountability and alignment. A food council would coordinate among our individual groups to connect the dots among food access, public health, local agriculture, transportation, and economic development. So instead of each issue being handled separately in a silo, a food council helps coordinate solutions so they actually work for people's daily lives. You'll hear about this from Dr. Reverend Daniel Smoke in a moment. I, Cassandra Laughlin, alongside Stephanie McFadden and Kanae Miller, and the entire board of Fresh Future Farm, we are committed to standing with the Charleston Area Justice Ministry and helping build and support this work long term. We are here as partners and collaborators. We are committed, not just in this movement, but for the movement. We are making a public commitment tonight, and we know that others will follow. Thank you.
My name is Daniel Smoke, and I'm the pastor at Westminster Presbyterian Church, where 5 months ago we voted to take up the issue of food insecurity. Ms. Lofton, thank you. The testimony you have just heard is what virtually every organization we've met with over the past months has told us. The work to provide food for everyone in Charleston has been happening. It has been happening on the ground by tireless, dedicated community leaders like those at Fresh Future Farm, Low Country Food Bank, East Cooper, Community Outreach, Our Lady of Mercy, Tri-County Food Share Distribution, so many others. There are quite a number of us who even volunteer in our local congregations, parishes, at local food pantries. We are all part of this picture. We are all committed to doing everything we can to alleviate the burden of food insecurity in our community. But addressing the food insecurity crisis requires that we recognize this as a shared responsibility. Even beyond that, it is a policy choice. It is something that we can resolve only with a coordinated effort, because we believe there is enough for all of us. Together, there are some overwhelming numbers that we have to confront. 60,000 Charleston County residents are food insecure tonight. 1 in 5 of our children, 1 in 7 of our senior citizens. Did you know that the federal government just terminated the only national survey that counted them? SNAP has been cut for 2.4 million Americans. We understand tonight that if Washington doesn't care to count hungry families, let alone feed them, then we will act locally. The crisis, even since we've taken it up, has been expanding. These cuts to aid are devastating, and we have to respond together with one voice. In our research, meeting with all these individual organizations, a resounding theme emerged: a lack of coordination. Now, we want to applaud every single effort made to address food insecurity. For example, there are organizations that are finding ways to overcome the transportation barrier, home delivery, through food pickup lockers. Food pickup lockers work like your Amazon locker, making food available beyond normal workday hours. North Charleston has been investigating ways to attract grocery stores to the food desert on the south end. However, all of this ends up being a piecemeal approach where individual organizations and governments are doing their best, but that is not good enough for our current crisis. We need more. We need more food, better access to that food through home delivery, through extended hours at food pantries and innovative solutions like those food lockers. These solutions all require funding. Installing a food locker is expensive. Solutions need to be put in place where the need is greatest and will have the greatest impact. What we have tonight is a vision for a stronger and coordinated local leadership and sustainable long-term solutions. Our research in these months has revealed that other communities have done their best work in addressing food insecurity through food councils. And you can read about that in the packet that you received when you came in the door tonight. A food council fosters collaborative development of logistical and policy solutions through relational hubs that bring together diverse food and agricultural stakeholders in a region. There are a lot of participants: community organizations, farmers and market owners, impacted neighbors, government partners. They develop relationships to engage in learning, to work together on common goals for food system change. Food councils bring us together to improve access to healthy, sufficient, and culturally meaningful food. Let me walk us through what this looked like in Wake County, North Carolina. In Wake County, elected officials and a community food council rose to the challenge, and they built a plan with 41 actions and 120 partners. And county commissioners backed it with $7.2 million. That money went toward improving coordination, education, supply, and access. It is a heavily coordinated effort to move the community from food charity to food resilience. And because of this council in Wake County came together, because they did strategic planning, because the county had their back, they all got on the same page about local priorities and what needed to get done. They worked together instead of separately. And that work supports farmers, community gardens, expansion of pantry and mobile markets, home delivery, and a lot more. This is the work that is more effective as a coalition with real backing from local government. Now, we believe that the problems that we have learned about here in Charleston are solvable. With more resources, we can buy more healthy food to distribute. We can coordinate distribution with a better software system. We can extend access with more staffing at existing food pantries, vehicles to deliver more food, food pickup lockers who have limited access to current pantries because of work schedules or lack of transportation. These problems are solvable, but they require a convening to plan for a comprehensive and effective strategy. They require all of us to come together. You may know that other regions nearby are doing this. Greenville and Columbia, Savannah. We can be on that map. Food policy councils provide sustainable solutions to build a stronger, more abundant community because everybody deserves equal access to healthy food, and we can make that a reality. But it won't happen without a plan. So tonight, we plant these seeds of strategy and initiate what will carry our community into a place where there is enough for all of us. Before we go any further, I want to ask the leaders of some of the organizations that are doing this work to stand. If you are involved in a volunteer or paid way with your local congregation or with one of these organizations or organizations that I'm not naming, will you please stand? The Low Country Food Bank, East Cooper Community Outreach, Our Lady of Mercy, Four Rivers Community Outreach, Fresh Future Farms, volunteers in local food banks. I want you to remain standing. You are the people who are feeding our neighbors. You are delivering groceries in personal vehicles. You are packing boxes on weekends. You're sending children home on Fridays with food so they can eat until Monday. You sit with seniors who are choosing between medication and a meal. Thank you for what you do. Because you are who you are, you sat down too early. But I want to ask you something. If a regional food policy council is convened, a table where your organizations sit alongside the neighbors most affected and the government officials who have the power to support the work with policy and resources, if that's convened, Will you commit to being there? Will you build strategy together? Will you deliver a plan that addresses both what our region needs right now and what we must build for the long term? If you want to be at that table, then will you please raise your hand? We want our elected officials to see that you want this to happen, because you are the experts. Now, that's the commitment in the room for those that are on the ground every day. But we cannot be strong without support from our local governments. So tonight, we're asking city and county leaders to represent the people they serve and give answers to two asks. The first ask, we're asking for $60,000 to get started. We're asking the City of Charleston, the City of North Charleston, and Charleston County to each commit $20,000, that's a total of $60,000, to launch a food council within 90 days. This money will be used to hire a professional facilitator who will stand the council up in the right way, making sure the right people are at the table, the work is focused, and that the council is built to actually develop and implement a Charleston region-wide strategy, not just hold meetings. The second ask, we are asking each jurisdiction to set aside $200,000. That is $600,000 total in funding, so that when this council builds its strategy and identifies next steps to take, there's no waiting, there's no new funding process, there's no delay. The council delivers a plan, and there is action because the money has already been committed. When an official says yes tonight, they are saying they believe that a food council is a good idea and that they are going to help others understand that too. They are committing to being a part of making this happen. And by being here tonight, all of you are saying the same thing. You're standing behind this plan. You're committed to supporting these officials and this work as it moves forward. Tonight, we need yes answers to both of these asks. We need to lay the groundwork with $60,000, and we need the $600,000 to implement the solutions that our region urgently needs. Other regions in our state and states near us and across the country have built food councils. They have improved the coordination between organizations and government. They have pooled their resources into one strategic plan and made real changes in their cities. And we can do this too, because we know that there is enough. And that can start tonight.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mignon Clyburn, and I will serve as our lead negotiator tonight. Janet Northern will back me up. Will North Charleston Mayor Reggie Burgess please join us on stage? And approach either microphone stand that you wish. You chose the one on the left. Okay. Mayor Burgess, would you please answer two questions with a yes or no? Question one, will you commit $20,000 to convene a regional food council within 90 days?
Yes.
Question two, Mayor Burgess. Will you recommend that the city set aside $200,000 in reserve to fund the proposals of the Food Council after 120 days.
You said recommend? That's what you said.
Would you recommend?
I'll recommend the council, yes.
Thank you. Mayor Burgess, we appreciate your responses. If you would, please take 60 seconds. We'll time you, Mayor.
Okay.
60 seconds to address the audience. To
Okay.
you, Mayor Burgess.
This is my 10th time here. I started when I was a deputy chief, came here when I was assistant chief, came here when I was the chief, and I'm as a mayor. Because the Lord want me to be here. We have 2 city council members here, Dr. Anaway Paisley and Councilman Greg Perry here, and I have my staff. So what I want to say to you, 20,000 I would do from procurement side, but on May 21st, you all need to come to the committee whole meeting at City Hall to request for mayor and council for the 200,000. Okay? God bless you.
Thank you, Mayor Burgess. Thank you, Mayor Burgess. I believe you said May 21st. What time? 5:30. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Will all North Charleston City Council members in attendance please join us on stage? Thank you. I will begin with you, Councilmember Mike Brown. Greg, you know what? And we know each other real well. So, Councilman, who's Mike? We'll talk about that later. Mr. Brown, Councilman Brown, question 1. So let's do that again. Councilmember Greg Perry, now mind you, we were just at a program, and I knew your name then. Mr. Perry, question 1. Will you champion $20,000 to convene a regional food council within 90 days?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Question 2, Councilman Perry. Will you champion holding $200,000 in reserve to fund the proposals that the Food Council will be making within 120 days?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Stephanie Ganaway Paisley. Please answer yes or no. Question 1, will you champion $20,000 to convene a regional food council within 90 days?
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you. Question 2, will you champion holding $200,000 in reserve to fund the proposals that the Food Council will be making within 120 days?
Yes.
Thank you for your responses. So, Councilmember Ganaway Paisley, you have 60 seconds to address the audience. And I got her name right because I've known her ever since I moved to Charleston.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Ganaway Paisley, and I am a strong believer in government provides for people what people can't do for themselves. And we have to lead by example. I'm a believer in stability, I understand responsibility, and I understand in leading by example. My family and I, on a personal note, this is personal to me, my family and I have donated over 5,000 pounds of food from 2020 up until current. We are our brother's keepers. We are responsible for taking care of one another, and I am with you 100%.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Perry, who is a very forgiving person. You now have 60 seconds to address the audience and forgive me in the process.
You're forgiven. Well, so just last year, I sat in the back of this room as a private citizen supporting this organization. This year, as your elected official in the city of North Charleston, just got elected in January in the special election. Thank you. I now get the opportunity to sit in the front and have this opportunity to support this organization from the city of North Charleston and support vulnerable communities. And I believe that it is imperative that we support those individuals that need us the most. So I gladly support individuals receiving funding for more food.
Thank you so very much. Thank you very much. Is there anyone here from Charleston County Council? There you are, Pastor. Councilmember Kylon Middleton, please join us up on stage and approach either microphones. He is politicking, of course. I have to behave because I knew him before he was born, as the old folks say. Reverend Middleton, please answer with a yes or no. Question 1, will you champion $20,000 to convene a regional food council within 90 days?
And I'm answering for me and Councilman Werriman, yes.
Thank you. Will you and Councilman Werriman, because you're answering jointly, Werriman, champion holding $200,000 in reserve to fund the proposals that the Food Council will be making within 120 days?
Yes.
So Councilmember Middleton, since I'm messing up names tonight, on behalf of Councilmember Werriman and of course yourself, please take the opportunity to allow whatever is in your spirit for 60 seconds. We'll give you 2 more seconds since you're speaking on for the behalf of another person to address the audience.
Thank you all so very much. Councilman Werriman could not be here today, but was committed and wanted to make certain that he was on the record with his yes for both of these. We did meet with the committee and had robust conversations. We've been at this place before with the Housing Trust Fund, the revolving loan fund. Were it not for me and Councilman Werriman, championing that, we would not have the $11 million that you saw in the slide just a little while ago. And so it does work. Individuals who are on these councils can go back and encourage, influence, and persuade very strongly others to join on board. So we look forward to doing that again because there is enough for all of us.
Thank you very much, Pastor. Will all Charleston City Council members in attendance please join us on stage? Please approach either microphone. So if I get this wrong, I really cannot go home again. Councilmember Waring, please answer with a yes or no. Question 1, will you champion $20,000 to convene a regional food council within 90 days?
Yes, I will.
Question 2, will you champion holding $200,000 in reserve to fund the proposals that the Food Council will be making within 120 days?
Yes, I will.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Leslie Scarden, please answer with a yes or no. Question 1, will you champion $20,000 to convene a regional food council within 90 days?
No.
And I thought I was going to get off easy. Council member, you have 30 seconds to tell us why.
Look, I absolutely believe in this cause and finding solutions. I am with y'all 100%. I disagree with the policy recommendation to hire a consultant. As a former consultant, I disagree that spending $60,000 in 90 days hiring someone, going through an RFP process is the right approach when I believe we have the expertise we already need to lead this as a local homegrown effort. I just went through this as chair of the Rethink Folly Road Committee, where we were put up to the question of, do we spend $70,000 to rehire a consultant? And by the time we would have got done with procurement, getting county, city, town commitments, we could have done it ourselves. And so that's what we did. We've taken the reins into our own hands with the built-in expertise we have and moved forward much more quickly into action without spending more money and time on creating more plans. So again, I agree 1,000% with this cause. I'm here for you. I just disagree with hiring a consultant for this specific piece of it.
Okay. I can appreciate your answer, but I want you to know that the work that we have done, we have identified experts who are doing this work every day on the ground, and these are people who are in Columbia, and they are, in our backyard in Greenville, and they are successful. They are winning at this work. And I hope that we don't get bogged down by a consultant. I hope that we can work through so that we can get to the heavy lifting of creating a food council. We can figure out how to get there. Mignon, do you want to?
We'll go to question 2. Will you, Councilwoman, champion holding $100,000 in reserve to fund the proposals that the Food Council will be making within 120 days?
No.
Okay. Again, you have 30 seconds to tell us why.
Again, I deeply, deeply believe in this, but I cannot blindly commit to funding without knowing what it would go to in those specific policy recommendations. I run a statewide nonprofit, and I know where every single dollar and cent is and where it's going. What I can absolutely commit to is if you all come back with the recommendations from this policy council and say, these are the 5 things we want to do, this is what it's going to do in the city of Charleston, this is how much money we need, this is the impact, these are the proven results, of course I will champion that. But it is against my DNA to blindly commit to a pocket of taxpayer dollars without knowing what those solutions are.
Okay. Well, we can understand your DNA, for sure. But you know what? That is exactly what we are proposing. The deal is the seed money convenes the council, okay? The council produces a plan, a very, very specific plan to our region in 120 days. $200,000 is not released until you see the plan and you approve the plan. All the ins and outs and the up and down, you approve the plan. So no plan, no money, okay? No like plan, no money, okay?
I can get behind that.
You can be that involved, okay? So knowing that, would you commit under those terms?
Yes, if I see a plan and it works, of course I will be a champion of it. Absolutely. I have no qualms whatsoever with that.
Okay. I take that as a yes.
Councilmember Scarden, you now have 60 seconds to address the audience.
Y'all, the first time I was here was in 2018 with my husband. It was our date night. So we love Cajun. We've been big fans of Cajun. I know many of my constituents are in the audience, so thank you so much for doing what you do. I hope you take my candor tonight not as anything but trying to be a good public service and servant and oversee funds responsibly. I do want to point out 2 things. One, This is part of a much larger affordability crisis, right? And I'm proud that the city is taking steps and the county is taking steps on affordable housing and ensuring that when we're building housing, it is mixed use and mixed income, and we have the ability to walk to places to get groceries and healthy food. That's a huge, huge part of this and something that the city is actively addressing. The second piece, when we talk about those federal funding cuts, they're atrocious, and they're heartbreaking. So this November, we have a really big election, and I would ask and implore all of you to reach out to your state reps who are running, reach out to the federal reps who are running, and ask them if they're gonna reinstate funding for food programs and food security, because we need it. So please get out and vote this November. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councilman Waring, 60 seconds to address the audience.
I've had the pleasure of being here, as Mayor Burgess said, over 10 years. So I know the detailed work that Cajun does. My colleague has been on council about 90 days, and she is a person that truly does her homework. She's a wonderful person to work with, and I'm looking forward to collaborating with her, Mayor Cogswell, and the other 11 elected members of City Council. The detail that Cajun has provided to elected officials over these years, I should say more than a decade, has been an ally to elected officials. Not an obstacle, an ally. You run a successful campaign, you win. You don't necessarily know how to govern, but you want a campaign. It's the information. It's the information that's given to you, in particular from people like Cajun, that makes you a better servant for the public. So if I were here 90 days and I didn't have the detail, maybe I would answer that question like my colleague did, okay? But I can tell you she's a very hard worker. I look forward to working with her. Mayor Burgess can attest to the police buy audit. We all remember how challenging, I will say, that was. At first, on Charleston City Council, it was 4 people in favor, 4 African Americans. When it came to getting it funded, it was unanimous vote. And the gap in information was supplied to council by Cajun. So I still thank Cajun.
Thank you very much. This concludes our negotiations for the evening. Thank you to our officials for being here tonight and for their clear and honest conversations about serious, very serious community issues. And I want to thank you, the audience, our Cajun family, for your time, attention, and dedication, and of course, patience. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. I stand before you as an elected official, a retired educator, and someone trained in school board governance. I know what effective leadership looks like, and I also know what it looks like when it breaks down. Right now, in the Charleston County School District, we are experiencing a failure of governance, a lack of oversight, zero accountability, and a deliberate effort to concentrate leadership in the hands of a few. When governance fails, students and teachers pay the price. Let me make it plain. There's a lot of gaslighting going on, a lot of smoke and mirrors, and performative leadership where the focus is shifted away from real issues and real outcomes. But we cannot be distracted. Because when a school board is consumed with conflict in politics, decisions that impact classrooms get delayed. That means reading interventions don't happen fast enough, academic supports are not prioritized, and children who are already behind fall even further behind. When qualified leaders are pushed out or not supported, schools lose stability. Teachers are left without consistent direction, morale drops, and students feel that instability every day in their classrooms. When decisions are driven by ideology instead of expertise, programs that support students academically, socially, and emotionally are dismantled. And students who need those supports the most are the ones who lose them. We have seen it. We have seen it when leadership is disrupted. We have seen a flawed superintendent search process. We have seen the refusal to support and retain qualified leadership. We have seen decisions that divide communities instead of strengthening them. We have also seen a district that's plagued with lawsuits from employee cases that settled quietly without transparency or accountability. That is poor governance. And here is another truth. We still have not finalized the superintendent's evaluation, which means we have no clear vision beyond 2027. And if we are being honest, the vision that we currently have in place will not be met at the pace we are going. That is poor governance. Because good governance requires planning, it requires accountability, and it requires a clear direction. And without it, systems fail. And when systems fail, children suffer. In $1 billion district, we still have too many children who do not read at grade level. This is not just an academic issue. This is a governance issue. So tonight, this is our school board governance call to action. We must demand a school board that operates with integrity. We must demand transparency in decision-making. We must demand accountability for the outcomes of our children. Because our children cannot wait. Our teachers cannot wait. Our community cannot wait. And when the people stand up, that's when change will come. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Ms. Roberson, for that, getting us charged up, fired up, alert, wide awake. I'm Andy Massey, and I'm a member of St. Matthew's Lutheran Church. I just got back from making public comments at the school board meeting tonight, and our work has never been more important. I want a school board that represents my values of transparency, engagement, and commitment to high-quality public education for all of us.
Hello, everyone. I'm Yvette Campbell. I'm from St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church. And because of that, sometimes Baptists, they have a call back. So you guys might have to call back, okay? I'm also on the steering committee for this issue. I, too, want a school board that represents my values. They mirror Andy's: high-quality public education, because I'm a servant leader. You know, old-fashioned people say what you mean and mean what you, that's right. Because I believe in our education, because there's enough. That's true. That's true when it comes to education and our school district. All of our children deserve leaders who are working on their behalf. All of us deserve an excellent district with excellent governance. So how do we get there? I'm glad you asked. How do we stand up for good governance, for a functional, let me say that again, a functional school board for our children and our teachers? CAJM has been attending school board meetings for years, making sure that our school board members see us, hear from us, and know that we're paying attention. Make some noise if you've ever been to a school board meeting. This is part of being engaged citizens. If you haven't attended a school board meeting, I greatly encourage you to join us to see for yourself how this school district is being ran. Of course, not all of us have the time or the capacity to be at every school board meeting, but every single Charleston County voter can still make a difference and hold our elected officials accountable to do what's right. So, I have great news. This is an election year. So 5 seats are up for election on November 3rd, and there's a special election on June 9th. So the margins of victory in these local elections can be very small. Last time, District 4 was up for grabs. The election was won by only 564 votes. We have more than enough people and power to shift the tides. So we have the opportunity to choose who represents us and our values. Out of 9 seats, this kind of election year means that the board could completely change. So make some noise if you want to see a change.
Thank you, Yvette. So let's get into the details. First of all, you need to know if you're voting for a school board member this year. Raise your hand if you live in Charleston County. Now keep that hand up if you know who your school board member is. Had a lot of dropsy out there. Okay, everybody else, here's how you find out. There's a QR code on page 7 in your packet, and I think it's going to be up on the screen. I want to confess to you that I used to be a smart man with a dumb phone, and now I'm a dumb man with a smartphone. So get it out. That's going to take you to scvotes.gov, and that's where you're going to enter your information. When you enter that information, what it calls for, it'll tell you if you're registered, and it gets you a list of all the different voting districts that you're in. And look for your school district number. Now, I did this just a little while ago, so it ought to take about another 15 seconds if you've got nimble fingers. It may take a little longer. When I put my information in, I know that I'm in District 9 on the beautiful island of James, which is up for election this year. Districts 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9 will be chosen on November 3rd. District 4 has a special election on June 9th. So now that you know your voting district, now raise hands of who's done that while I've been talking. Anybody? Please. My current representative is Dr. Carol Temple. The names of current board members in these odd-number districts are in your packet on page 7. So maybe there's an incumbent, and now you know that. How do you find out who else is running? The candidates for the June 9th special election have already filed, and those names are on the top of page 9. For November, the filing deadline when candidates need to declare that they are running for the seat is August 17th. Some candidates have already filed, but this date is when we will have the full picture. Pay attention and keep your lamp lit. There are instructions on page 9 in your packet for how to look up candidates. What else can you do this summer as we prepare for these important elections? So while you're getting a tan or enjoying the water, there's a to-do list in your packet on page number 8. Put this up on your refrigerator or any other visible place. Let's go through these action items.
You ready? All right. So you're going to find out more about the candidates. You're going to do your research. Find someone who stands for community engagement, transparency, that's the say what you mean and mean what you
say.
That part. Fair process, shared leadership, and working on behalf of all children.
Then you're going to sign up for our committee updates. We won't be endorsing candidates, but we will be keeping you informed on who is running, what their stances are, and important dates to be aware of.
You're also going to ask everyone you know, do they know who their school board member is? You're going to direct them to SC Vote's website. You're going to help them get up to date. So you got a little bit of homework. It's okay. It's not a bad thing. If their district is in an election year, help them find out who is running. Keep a list of the candidates on your phone or in your wallet.
If you don't live in an election area, adopt a candidate. Board members make votes that impact the entire district. So find someone who represents your values, what you are looking for in a leader, and get the vote out. Sign up to volunteer for them. Know your district. Pay attention to candidates as they announce. Talk to your neighbors. We can do this, and when we do this, we will know that there is enough.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Good evening, Cajun family. How about another round of applause for all of our speakers and negotiators? Let them know. Thank you. I love the musician. He's on it. To all of my clergy siblings, the leaders, the organizers, and every soul who showed up tonight, we are truly grateful. The Reverend Dr. Adam Shoemaker, newly elected Bishop Adam Shoemaker, reminded us at the beginning of the evening that there is enough for all of us. After everything we have witnessed in this room tonight, that is the only conclusion a room full of faithful, organized people can reach. There is enough for all of us. What a night it has been. We saw Jackie Winston stand up for Gadsden Creek. We heard from Angela Washington, and we were reminded that this is not an abstract environmental issue. It is someone's home, someone's heritage, someone's inheritance, and we will fight for it. We heard Deborah say that Charleston is not carrying this housing fight alone. A statewide coalition is rising because injustice does not stop at the county line. We heard Darlene, Andy, and Everett remind us that our schools belong to us and that the people governing our children's futures must answer to the people in this room. And they will answer at the ballot box. If you have a voter registration card, you are expected to vote on June 9th. You are expected to vote in November. And no matter where you live, talk to your neighbors about the importance of these elections. Start organizing now. For food insecurity, we heard Cassandra Laughlin make it plain. Families in this region are going hungry, not because there is not enough food, but because the systems meant to move food to people who need it are fragmented, underfunded, and working in isolation from one another. She told us that organizations like hers, what they want, what they need more coordination, they need more collaboration, and they need real institutional support and not empty promises. These local organizations agreed that a food council is a viable and necessary solution. They are eager, ready, and committed. Reverend Dr. Daniel Smoke presented the solution we researched, and Mignon and Janet negotiated on behalf of every family that has ever had to choose between groceries and their light bill. For $60,000, they negotiated for $60,000 to establish that council and $600,000 to build the infrastructure this region deserves. My friends, this is what organized people look like. So yes, tonight, some officials said yes, and we are truly grateful. Some said not yet, and we will follow up. For those who said yes, we will hold them to it. We will show up at the next council meeting. And for those who said no, we will help them get there. We will call their office this week. We will tell them our stories. We will tell them that people are paying attention. We will tell them that people are watching, and we will keep supporting the organizations feeding our neighbors. And so I ask this question of you tonight, my Cajun family: will you be that accountability partner? Amen. Now hear me out. April 27th, this night is not the end of something. It is the beginning of something. It is a covenant. Every word spoken tonight was spoken before you. Every promise made tonight was made in your presence. You are the record keeper. You are the accountability partner. You are a great cloud of witnesses. You didn't just attend a meeting tonight. You became a witness, and witnesses have a responsibility. After tonight, after this night, it is all of our responsibility to declare and make that reality plain. There is enough for all of us. There is enough for all of us. There is for all of us. Let us pray. Gracious and loving God,
We come to the close of this gathering with hearts both full and stirred, full of gratitude for the voices raised, the stories shared, and the courage witnessed, stirred by the work that still lies before us, the work of justice, of dignity, of love made visible in our communities. We thank you for every person who showed up tonight with hope, with determination, and with a belief that things can be different. Strengthen that belief, oh God. Let it not fade when we leave this place, but grow deeper in us and move us to action. Give wisdom to our leaders, accountability to our institutions, and perseverance to all who labor for what is right. When the path ahead feels long, remind us that we do not walk alone. When obstacles arise, grant us creativity and unity to overcome them. When we grow weary, renew our spirits. Teach us to see one another as neighbors and not strangers. Help us to listen with compassion, to speak with truth, and to act with courage. May justice roll down, not just in words spoken tonight, but in policies changed, systems transformed, and lives uplifted. As we go from this place, carry with you a shared purpose to build a community where every person is valued, where fairness prevails, and where hope is not deferred. Guide our steps, O God. Steady our hearts, and let your vision of justice and peace take root through us. Amen.